Ohio is a wash of towns that were quick to build small malls. In reality, many of these malls should never have been built. And as much as I hate to say it, one of these examples is the Woodland Mall in Bowling Green. Let's take a look at this mall's past and discuss its situation. Woodland Mall started out as a product of the 80s mall boom, with plans confirmed by the city and the developer, the very originally named mall company, in 1984. However, locals and business owners were concerned about the mall potentially beating them out in market competition, though it was said that they were given the option to move to the mall once it was built or to remain where they were. At first, the mall's original location on North Main Street behind the Thayer Chevrolet dealer was denied, though the developer opted for another site close by, which would be rezoned for commercial use. Eventually, the mall was given the green light, and Woodland Mall would be built and officially opened in May 13, 1987, with its original anchor JCPenney hosting a grand opening ceremony just a few days before, and Elder-Beerman having begun even earlier. The mall did open to much fanfare, with clown shows and balloons, performances by the local high school band, and even a ribbon-cutting ceremony hosted by the then-mayor Bruce Bellard. With JCPenney and Elder-Beerman as its primary anchors, the mall would proceed to bolster its offerings with a movie theater and a small food court. The mall would even gain a Hills store as a third anchor in 1988, along with an expansion to properly incorporate Hills as a part of the mall. And the mall was known for hosting a number of shows and events, one of which included a doll show. Weird event, but okay. Hills did not last very long, however, closing its doors in 1993, and this highlighted an issue with the mall. Although it was popular in its initial years, that popularity seemed to die off very quickly. The mall was also sold in January 1991, being transferred from the mall company to Bog Ohio Incorporated. Not sure if this had to do with the mall itself, although Bog Ohio doesn't sound like a very good name. Hills was never filled back in for very long, with a number of businesses coming and going. This included an expo center, youth entertainment center, and a skate park, among other businesses. JCPenney would also proceed to close in mid-2002, despite reporting a strong opening that year. It wasn't all doom and gloom, however, as the Hills space would finally get a longer-term replacement in the form of Steve & Barry's, while Dunham Sports would arrive in 2004. In 2005, the mall would get its ownership transferred again to a shell company out of New York classified as Woodland Mall Holdings, LLC. They reportedly reached out to the community in 2007 with plans to draw on new tenants to the region, the intent to continue hosting local events, and to repaint the mall interior, among other improvements. Whether or not this worked out remains to be seen, although I imagine this is more like a cry for help. A 2007 paper outlines some long-standing businesses from opening week that are still operational, mingled among new businesses and a smattering of major chains. But 35 stores and a church isn't exactly a lot, especially when the mall can host well over 60 or even 70. The mall lost steam and momentum over the 2010s, with stores closing one by one. And Steve & Barry's turned out to be a flash in the pan, closing in 2009 when the chain entered bankruptcy. And to make matters worse, it doesn't appear that anything else has moved into that space since. And in 2018, Elder-Beerman closed its doors for the last time as the parent company, Bon-Ton, entered bankruptcy. This would leave Woodland Mall with only Dunham Sports as an anchor, while a handful of tenants soldier on alongside a Sears hometown and the local theater. Enter the terrible 20s, and the movie theater would finally close while Sears hometown continued on. But even Sears hometown wasn't safe, as it too was forced to close. Sears itself was still going through bankruptcy. Today, Woodland Mall only has a handful of locally run tenants, a fitness gym, bar and grill, and a thrift store, while Dunham Sports keeps their shutter to the mall down. It's a wonder that the mall has not been closed yet, at least not as of the making of this video. But I guess it isn't over until the fat lady sings. The mall definitely manages that surreal vibe. This footage was taken during the mall walker hour, but foot traffic didn't pick up much beyond this when I stayed around for the opening hour. Maybe it'd pick up more in the afternoon, but I doubt it. It's a shame too, because dated as it may be, I like the browns at play on the floor, and the food court is a nice thing to look at and sit down in, especially beneath one of the small trees. Now, as I'm headed out, there were stories about this mall having overzealous busybodies trying to run mall enthusiasts like me out of the building. There is a theory on where this all started, but I do know a few people got ran out of the mall with Karen trying to call the cops on them. Fortunately, I got lucky, aside from someone in the food court trying to challenge me to a staring contest, but I felt it necessary to mention that. This will lead to a more serious discussion topic sometime, but that's for another day. I don't want to tarnish my experience with this mall too much. It was a good one. Thanks for having me, Bowling Green, Ohio. And until next time, this is Doomie Grunt wishing you and the Woodland Mall farewell and good luck. You're gonna need it. Once you get out of the mountains of eastern Ohio, it gets boring out here. No wonder you guys had so many astronauts. They wanted to get off the planet just to see something else.